this could all go horribly wrong at any minute.
And the rubber chicken says, wow, I think freedom's just another word for making shit up and calling it real. But what do I know? I'm just a rubber chicken. God, that'll make a hell of a song. Oh, and you can sing it for me later because we got to get on with Rantcast 53. Lewis Black's Rantcast 53, by the way, entitled Idi-f. Yes, sirree. We certainly are. It is rolling along. We don't know how to. Do we know how to do any fucking thing at all? Anything? Do we? Anything? Is there anything that is within our grasp as we turn on the TVs and watch this week? Is apparently, yes, we have to get out of Afghanistan. It's absolutely vital. 3,000 troops there and whatever, and I get it. I was in Bagram and Kandahar, and I've talked about this, and Kathleen and I were there, and we were in Kabul, for Christ's sake. It was just a scary fucking town. There's we put it out on Twitter. Kathleen put it out. That she and Robin, I'd forgotten this, were standing on the roof of the Kabul, of the embassy, the American embassy that we were at. You could look up on the mountain and see a swimming pool that was made, I think, by the Russians, so that they were going to have the Olympic team or something practice high diving there. Had a big giant fucking diving board. And the Taliban took over, and that was the way they killed people, is they sent them off there. And I may have even brought this up last week. You know what? I wish I could remember this shit, but it bears repeating. And Robin and she were looking up there, and Robin said, you ought to take a picture because, because the Taliban, this is 2011, the Taliban will be back. Kathleen agreed. I was wandering around looking for drinks, I think. I miss the important moments sometime. But it was horrifying there. And when we went through the town, we were actually a little rattled because apparently there was, somebody was after us, God knows who. And now back with the Taliban, just as Robin and Kathleen had prophesized, as they prognosticated, so to speak. They're fucking comics and they knew it. It's just unbelievable. Okay, it was 3,300 troops or whatever was sitting there, holding it in place, and no one had died in 15 or 16 months, and you're doing this because of the former leader. I mean, and you believe that this has got to be done, and now what I don't understand is how you fucking don't orchestrate a leaving. You want to leave? You know what you do? You sneak in there and start getting people out. That's what you do. And if you're going to get to, and don't hand me this shit that you've made some sort of a fucking thing with them. And that we've negotiated this peace with them and they're going to do this, that, and the other. The Taliban. Okay? They believe in, this law that basically kind of excludes women, except for, maybe baking. Jesus Christ, they can't go to, you can't have a beauty parlor. What the fuck planet are you on? And then, and you can go through all this shit. It's all been said. All I do is repeat this fucking nonsense that, we support Saudi Arabia, which is total fucking, women have to leave the country in order to drive. Oh, come on. Jesus, you couldn't have figured it out. You couldn't come up with a plan. You could have called me. I might have helped you. I'm no genius, but keep it a secret. Start getting the list together of the folks you need to get out, okay? And put them on the planes and have 6 months to figure out a timeline. And once, and there's no need to have gotten into what looked like it was horrifying to watch. To live through it after, at the end of that horrific first the Vietnam War, and then to watch it again. Oh, this was a war that took place in a desert, so that made it different? a desert and when we flew over it, you could fucking tell that nobody was going to conquer this country except fucking somebody like the Taliban. Because it's literally, you one mountain village, you go 15 miles, there's another little village nestled amongst the mountains. They don't even see each other. They got different lines. Oh, God. Son of a bitch. And we looked, it's just fucking, it was disgusting. There's no other way to put it. We're going through hell and back here in this country. We can't even fucking organize ourselves to get shots done. People are beating the shit out of each other over masks. And we're over there and we're trying to organize an exit. We can't even do that. What the fuck's the matter with us? Idi-fuckits. Come on. We are better than this. Okay? God, is my generation, are the people over, fuck my generation, are people over the age of 35 that fucking stupid? You don't trust anybody over the age of, 30? Maybe that is it. Maybe that is a fundamental. Son of a bitch. God, it was just awful to watch. Just insane. And is it like Vietnam? In a way, just as horrifying to watch. As we've fled, these people who had been our allies. I don't know or remember well enough, nor was I going to sit there. And because watching that was enough, do I need to go back and double traumatize and go through the exit from Vietnam again? But it seems to me those folks who helped us in Afghanistan are a shitload more trouble than the folks who helped us in Vietnam. But I'm sure someone out there will set me straight on that, and please do. I can't get over this. And I've got a governor saying that the kids can't wear masks to go to school. The fucking Texas Supreme Court says that localities can't make a decision about the health of their own children. Come on. God damn it. It's a health issue. It's not a political issue. They're fucking unbelievable. There's something criminal about this kind of declaration that a child who needs to be protected because they can't get a vaccination. All right? Not that their parents would allow them to have a vaccination. They don't allow them to wear a mask. So they're sending them in there essentially, potentially to die. Am I being inflammatory? Probably. But their kids now are rolling into hospitals, so I'm not fucking crazy. What do they think's happening? And the schools are being shut down because there is a COVID fucking, in certain states, it's like, boom, they send them back and we got to go into lockdown because there's so many cases of it. And they don't allow them to wear the mask. Because why? Freedom? Are you shitting me? They're children. Okay? When you're standing over their bed, Mom and Dad? When you're standing over your child's bed, if you're allowed in, since you're not vaxxed, and is that the point? Is that when you explain freedom to them? Oh, the reason you're lying here in this bed with possibly potentially dying of COVID is because we wanted you to be free? Seriously? This is our idea. This is your idea of freedom. That's how you teach your children. You put them in a hospital bed. There are a lot of other ways to teach kids about freedom. Lord knows we got a million lessons, and it's got nothing to do with wearing a mask during a pandemic. God damn it. That rubber chicken is right. You make shit up. I'm sorry. How is it not during the course of a pandemic at some point when we know certain things about health, how is it not somewhat criminal to make shit up about a vaccine? Look, you don't want to take the vaccine, that's fine, but don't make shit up. Don't say that you're going to go sterile. Don't say that that something is coming off you, that there's flakes coming off you that will render somebody whatever the fucking nonsense of the day is because this didn't, we got to keep pumping that goddamn bullshit machine. That's not criminal, huh? It's not criminal for DeSantis to fucking send children off to school in parts of Florida and say that he's going to fucking take away funding for schools over this. Because they're wearing masks, because they're trying to protect themselves, that somehow it's freedom of choice if. There's a big fucking if there. God damn it. Nothing criminal about that. I don't know. I don't know the law anymore. I don't get it anymore. And I certainly don't get sanity anymore because I'm losing mine rapidly. And we are basically sliding back down the hill as fast as we fucking can. And it is tiresome. And it is exhausting. And I'd like to be calmer about this, but I can't. I just can't. The Obama birthday party? I didn't get a chance to talk about that because I was off last week. He has a big birthday party. Why did he have to have a big birthday party? What was that about? Huh? Okay. So when he probably sent out the invitations, it looked like things were going to be good. But by the time it rolled around, it wasn't going to be good. And so to have all of that go out, all it does is feed the other side, and it feeds the myth of the other side. And see what they're doing, and they don't have masks, and it doesn't matter that they're all vaccinated. Nobody gives a shit about that. Okay? Nobody from the non-vax side cares about that. They got the photos. There was no need for him to have a birthday party and stoke the fires. Wait 3 months. Wait until you can have the fucking party. Son of a bitch. I got a birthday coming. I'm not going, boy, I better have a big birthday. Invite everybody to it. And I'm certainly not going to get the kind of crowd he pulled. That A-listers all flying in. And then, big news, my mother, speaking of birthday parties, and someone who should have hundreds of people there, but just can't handle it at the moment, and with the numbers rising and all of that, and it's just, even if we were going to have a small amount of people, it'd be tough to do it where she is. It's just hard to find a place to do that and not put her in harm's way at this point because people aren't doing what they're fucking supposed to be doing. So she turns 103. That's right, 103 on September 8th. And I will be going down for that. I will be probably just a few of us there. And we haven't figured out how we'll work this out yet, but it will be small. Sadly, but it's also her. A lot of folks. It's going to be maybe at this point too much for her. She's been in kind of basically in a quarantine situation because they're not a big space for them to go into at her assisted living, independent assisted memory care situation there because they're renovating, and I've discussed that with you before, and they're not finished yet. So she's been, a lot of folks, it just becomes really too much for her, and so that's. But it will be nice to be with her on that day, and I just wanted to share that with you. I saw her last week. She has a tendency now at this point to be in and out. I call it. It's like you're talking to a satellite. Sometimes she's here, sometimes she's there, and even through it all, even when she's there, her intelligence is stunning, and her smarts and her humor remain the same. And I'm lucky that her caregivers have been tremendous. And I do. It was interesting. She shared with me that she'd been. This is an interesting one. She'd been in a vaudeville act. I tried to find the name of the other person, and she felt that the Vaudeville Act, in order to be a really good Vaudeville act, not only did it be interesting, but educational. You had to teach the people something. Otherwise, they weren't going to really enjoy it and really invest in it. And that's not the word I'm looking for, but I find from time to time, I just go for words that seem to be placeholders. And that irritates me too, because why? Because I'm sliding back because of what's just happened over the past week. We continue, I watched the Taliban run amok, and I thought, wow, it's like watching a living embodiment of COVID, racing around. And that was, it just was too much. It was too irritating. I'm sorry to share that with you. Don't take that out of your head. Take that out of your head. Take that out of your head. It's not a good thing. Somebody just today sent, I was reading from something I got either on the Twitterverse or somewhere that they read my things. They liked the fact that I kind of calmed them down, and I'm not being very calm today. I apologize for that. I was saddened to see, it was when they made these announcements, Bagram Air Force Base going. That had been, that was the first tip that we were, that was when the Taliban took Bagram. I remember going there. That really, it was just like, oh boy, here come the dominoes are falling hard. And they got all our weapons. We didn't have to do anything. Should have just gone over there and not negotiated anything. And just early on said, here's some weapons so you can really hold the country. I just don't get it. Well, collect the weapons. That could have been done too. I got a lot of suggestions. And I'm sure that a lot of the military minds did. And I'm sorry that, I'm really sorry for what happened. I really think it was a mistake. And I'm not someone who likes to say, okay, let's hold the fort. But I do think we could have made leaving, we could have done a much better job at it. We're much smarter than this. Could have given it, you could have given it to 4 25-year-olds to fucking organize. And they probably could have come up with a better plan. Tell them what needed to be done. Son of a bitch. They showed all the equipment, everything that they were going to get. We couldn't get it out. I recently, due to this madness, I will say, and I can't remember once again if I'm repeating myself, but sadly I had to cancel what would have been my first real gig on the road in Huntsville. I'll be back there. We'll figure out when. But right now, I just can't do it. I can't put the folks I work with and myself in harm's way. I think maybe it's the 32% of Alabama's vaccinated, probably more in Huntsville, but the state will not allow me to ask folks to be vaxxed to come in or wear masks. So no, won't do it. I don't want to expose myself. And then, and I'm finding that I'm doing more and more and more again to try to make sure that I don't. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, it's become very slow. I kind of went, this isn't working. I'm going to have to back off. This vaccine is great, and it's really worked wonders. But I'm going to have to be careful, and I recommend that to all of you until maybe the FDA approves it and people do decide to do it. Maybe that we get those who are really in poverty and have difficulty getting a hold of the shot or don't have a primary physician who they trust, that maybe that we can finally get to that percentage that we need. Boy, oh boy, maybe, yeah. So I had to cancel that. I had to cancel Omaha. The Funny Bone there, which I love playing. I love playing both of those clubs. But once again, there was a map of the fucking United States, and wherever it was that there were problems, for crying out loud, you're looking at this thing, and all the states had reported, and Omaha was a white space. And I went, okay, fuck you. I know from talking to folks there that it might not be the right time to come, but I'll be back there too. So I had to cancel 2 of the 3 gigs, and I'm keeping Cleveland, and hopefully nothing gets too crazy there. They've done a lot of things in order to make me feel that it will be safe, or as safe as it could be, and we'll head up there, and if all goes well, I'll be able to talk about another project that will be starting that would occur afterwards, but we'll see how that works out. On the upside of a purely dog shit week, we do have some news that they're trying to make humans, or make mosquitoes blind to humans, so they wouldn't see humans. So they don't sense humans. So they would avoid humans. They wouldn't go after humans. That's pretty good, huh? That would be nice. That would probably take away a ton of disease. Probably many people will get upset out there. Son of a bitch, you're taking away the freedom of the mosquito, you fuckers. They need to suck the blood of a human, you bastards. And we need our blood sucked. Why? Because we have the freedom. That's our freedom. We need to be free to have our blood sucked. And if I move forward and it goes jiggly jig, fuck it. I don't care. Son of a bitch. Sometimes I don't care about that. You're supposed to sit in the one seat because this camera doesn't allow autofocus or whatever the fuck it is. It does a pretty good job, but not enough. I'm going to explain this at the end of the thing, and then I'm going to read you a few things, and then we're going to roll on out of here. Listen to this, boy. This is just... There's a report in the Rolling Stone, as we roll through this madness, that some professional dominatrices are ordering their submissive clients to get the COVID vaccine and are being obeyed. So that's what it takes. God, it's gratifying to know I've done something that Goddess Snow approves of, said client Bob. Wow, so it takes a dominatrix to get it done. Who knew? Who knew? Not a doctor, not a nurse, not somebody who knows something about health, not Dr. Fauci, not even no one but a dominatrix, somebody who spanks you really hard with a big hard paddle, puts a ball gag in your mouth, and pulls it out so you can say after the spanking, I'm sorry. Unbelievable. This is a good one. This is Kathleen's part of the country. She's not been very upset about it. I'm sure she's been ranting about it in her web stuff, her Twitters and her Instagram, and also on her podcast, which are great, and you should take a listen to them because they're the upside of what I'm doing. She's good. I think we could cover the news between the two of us. Doctors in COVID-ravaged Missouri say that anti-vaccine sentiment runs so high that some patients are wearing disguises to get their shots. Come on. It's just not right. There's no reason. Dr. Priscilla Frace of Ozarks Healthcare says patients have begged her, please don't let anybody know that I got this vaccine. The hospital now offers shots in a private setting to protect patients from being shunned. Shunned, that's a word you use, I think, in the Amish community. If you did something wrong, the community shunned you. Isn't that like the 17th century? Son of a bitch. It's a vaccination. You're allowed freedom, but the person who wants to be vaccinated isn't allowed the freedom to be vaccinated. So you don't understand the concept of the word freedom. It's that fucking simple. All right? If you're going to say that your rights have been denied to be not vaccinated, you cannot deny the other's rights to be vaccinated, okay? Why? Because you made shit up about it. All right? And making shit up is not freedom. The fucking rubber chicken told you that. A fucking rubber chicken. Pay attention. I'm not talking to you, the audience, but to hopefully that by saying it, it gets to the outer reaches of the universe and bounces back and hits some of these people in the head. Here's an important one. A YouGov survey found that Americans are an average 7.8 points more confident than Brits that they could beat various animals. Who does these surveys in a one-on-one fight, including a medium-sized dog, a chimpanzee, a kangaroo, and a goose? Wow. I mean, I think all Brits must believe they could beat up a goose. Oh, Brits, that's just funny. I could beat up a chimp. I could beat a kangaroo. That's not easy. They wear those boxing gloves. Yes, they do. I think they used to do that in the 20s. They would barnstorm. Or or when my mother was doing vaudeville. It was Jeanette Kaplan at that time, and the fighting kangaroo. Finally, this is, I'm wearing a shirt that Kathleen had given me. We went to Banff, a number of us, a few of us went up to Banff. I've been there a number of times. When we were touring, we stopped in on the way and we've gone up there to play golf, and it is really, and then I've been there by myself a number of times. It's absolutely stunning. It's one of them, if you get that chance once you're able to get up there, and if you can get the chance to get up there, or maybe when you go there and apply for citizenship, it's really beautiful. I wouldn't spend the winter there. You got to be out of your fucking mind. But my God, it's stunning. And this is the boss, picture of the boss. This is the most famous grizzly bear in Banff, the most famous animal there. And it wanders into the town. It's about 20 years old now, weighs 600 pounds. Well known to the community, great, huge celebrity there. Eats black bears. Legends abound about him. You can look that up. I was not going to sit here and use the time to describe the bear, but I wore it to give myself a sense of strength. I draw strength from the bear, from the boss. The boss before, I believe, maybe by the time, I don't know if Springsteen may have been the boss before the boss was the boss, but I think the bear is the boss, really. Because I don't even think Bruce could take on the bear. It's really, it's unbelievable. And the boss was hit by a train, and survived and has been thriving afterwards, and is one of the few grizzlies that or bears that wanders into the town, and there are many sightings of him. So if you get up there, don't say, "Hey, go, boy, I got to go see the boss and talk to him." Just steer clear of the fucking boss. 600 pounds, chomp, 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 you're gone. Okay, maybe 3 bites. And thank you again for spending this time with me. And it's really been a pleasure. You've got some really great rants coming your way today. Once again, I hope I did them justice. We're getting a lot of them about the kind of what goes on in terms of communities, in terms of COVID. And now we're starting to get a variety of stuff about people just irritated about, once again, the everyday shit that can drive you nuts as we kind of vaguely return to what was once considered normal, but it ain't normal. It's not even close. But it's normal in the sense of like, holy fuck, I can't believe this. I've got to deal with this shit again. And people are, people are pissed. And I'm glad they're sharing it with me. Please, all of you, stay safe. Do what you have to do. Take care of your children. Take care of yourselves. And thanks again for listening. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for everyone who has been writing. Continue to write, folks. You remember, it's the only show in America written by the audience. And I'm just proud to be here, being the guy reading it. What makes you happy? Is there something that interferes with your happiness or prevents you from achieving your goals? Is your mental health something you'd like to work on? I certainly have been for years, which is why I want to talk to you yet again about one of my sponsors, BetterHelp. BetterHelp, you see, is an online counseling service that assesses your needs and matches you with your own licensed professional therapist. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling in a convenient and private online environment. You log onto the website and you can start communicating with someone in less than 48 hours. They pair you with a counselor that you can message whenever you'd like, and you will get timely and thoughtful responses. You can also schedule weekly video or phone sessions from home without having to travel. They work with licensed professionals to match you with someone that works for you. So whether it be stress, anxiety, sleep, trauma, anger, I've got anger, family conflicts, grief, relationships, LGBTQ matters, or self-esteem, BetterHelp is committed to helping you find the expertise you need online without having to be limited by geographic location. They offer financial aid. They make it free and easy to change counselors if need be. It's confidential, convenient, professional, and more affordable than traditional offline counseling. Just go to their website to sign up and check out their daily testimonials. And if you are a counselor yourself, they are currently recruiting professionals in all 50 states. I want you to start living a better life today. And as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/rantcast. Join over 1 million people who've taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rantcast. This podcast is brought to you by HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh ships you quick and easy meals that only take 15 to 20 minutes to prepare and get on the table for you and your family fast and easy. There are 50 menu and market items to choose from each week, like ready-to-eat salads, breakfasts, sandwiches, or soups. You just log on to their website or app, choose from the very large weekly menu, and 3 daily fresh meals and snacks sourced from local growers get delivered to your door, delicious and simple. You can easily customize your order, like set food preferences, delivery dates, or even skip a week when needed. HelloFresh is 28% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store and 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal without sacrificing the quality. I watched a friend of mine prepare a meal from HelloFresh, and it did take 15 to 20 minutes, and it was terrific. And if he can do it, anyone can. So, go to www.hellofresh.com/14black and use code 14black for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. One more time, that's hellofresh.com/14black and use code 14black for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. I'm very excited to share with you a perspective on our country from a New Zealander. And this is the first time we've received something from there. And I couldn't be happier. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I was lucky enough to be able to perform there quite a while ago. And I really want to get back. So this is as close as I'm going to get. Thank you for this in advance. It's wonderfully written. Dear Lewis, I would appreciate it if you didn't use my name. I work as an intelligence analyst and would rather keep my identity private for the moment. Hello from New Zealand. Let me start by saying that my politics definitely tends toward the left. You might even say I'm a socialist. Shh. I've studied Marx a little, and nothing I've seen or heard over the last 50 years has dissuaded me from the idea that class struggle sits somewhere near the center of most conflict. Unlike some on the left, I love the United States and have traveled there a number of times, and notwithstanding the fact that living in a country and visiting it on a holiday are two very different things, I just adored my time in your homeland. In my more speculative moments, when I'm on my way to work early in the morning, for example, I fantasize about what university in America I'd like to do some post-grad work at, or what my dream holiday there would look like. Having said that, I write more in sorrow than anger. I live in a country that sits near the bottom of the Pacific, and I'm not sure if that comparative isolation lends perspective on what happens elsewhere in the world, or whether the tyranny of distance somehow distorts the points of reference I have, like light through a refracted lens. I know it's hard to interpret the circumstances of a country of well over 300 million people just through its public institutions, but with a media whose objectivity and foresight seems to extend only as far as the next gotcha headline, and a political environment so toxic that it's difficult to remember when listening to the views of the respective parties that they are talking about the same country. As a reasonably impartial observer and someone who doesn't have, as Americans say, a dog in any fight over there, it's hard not to conclude that all the left right bread and circuses bullshit currently occurring is just another death rattle in the slow expiration of a failing nation state experiment. The gulf that sits between the right and the left, progressives and conservatives, Republicans and Democrats, or whatever the preferred nomenclature is. It seems to me that it is not so much that the parties are unable to meet on common ground over any issue. It is that they are determined to deny the possibility that any commonality could even exist between them. They talk past each other constantly, intent only on proving that their opponents are stupid, racist, homophobic, radical, fascistic, or just plain crazy dangerous. Trump may have been awful, but I don't see much to be encouraged about in the performance of the Democrats to date. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe there isn't one. And the myth of rugged individualism that Americans believe to be so integral to their cultural DNA also contains within it the seeds of the country's discordance. Even in the midst of a pandemic, the inability of the political apparatus to act in unison on behalf of its citizens, and the inability of many of those citizens to see anything that the government does as being something other than a contest between them and us, doesn't leave a lot of room for optimism. As they say in New Zealand, kia kaha. Stay strong. We're trying. I really appreciate that, and I'm sorry I can't share your name. And thank you for letting us know what it looks like from the outside, because it sure looks like that from the inside. For me, at least, it very closely. You are way, way far away. But as a result, you're way, way more objective. And as I've said time and again, having no dog in the fight, a lot of the times it's a lot more fun to perform in a country, in another country, because I don't have to deal with the nonsense that both sides are carrying around in their little knapsacks of bullshit. Well, it's a nice way to start out the rants I'm reading today from my bunker, my new bunker. I hope you like it. I'd have liked to given you a better background for this. Take care and thank you. Peter Egton hits the nail on the head very quickly. Can someone tell me why journalists repeat themselves? Each article starts with a banner headline. The first sentence of the article repeats the banner headline, and then someone is quoted in the article repeating The banner headline. Do they think we have the attention spans of fucking goldfish? And while we were on the subject of redundant information, will professional sports commentators from now on cease and desist from saying better of the two? This is an inane statement. Better always means of two. He or she was the better competitor, full stop. We don't need to be told there were two competitors. No, we don't, Peter. But somebody will write in about that, I'm sure. And but part of the problem with journalism at this point is that we're in a transition phase at a time when we need really great papers and great information, well spoken and well said and well documented. And our newspapers are suffering. People are reading them on phones and pads, and the staffs are getting smaller and smaller, and then they're letting go of people who were truly great, and they aren't mentoring the younger ones who are coming in, and so at times you're having them repeat themselves. We still have great journalism schools, God knows, and hopefully we'll have great newspapers or something similar, something that we read on a screen. I'm of that generation that's caught between screen and paper. Oh, well. But it'll be better for the planet, I guess, when we don't have paper, but will it be better for my eyes? These are questions I ponder daily. Thank you, Peter. An anonymous rant about a subject that is consuming us, making us sick, and killing us. Blowdown forthcoming. Lou, this is another goddamn COVID rant, but I can't contain myself any longer. I am a federal employee from the Department of Defense and would like to remain anonymous. And you shall. Blowdown. Noun. Procedure used to periodically discharge garbage from steam boilers. I've been a viewer since the glory days of King George II and his evil little sidekick, that Dick Cheney. Your expressiveness got me through those tough years. Well, thank you. Got me through them too. I was glad I was able to yell in public. I live in a very red state filled with idiots consumed by the big lie that the orange orangutan won. As a condition of my employment, I undoubtedly will be required to comply with the CDC's latest edict. And of course, I will begrudgingly. I am so done with the goddamn coronavirus. I did my part and I got my shots. I was one of the first to volunteer in my organization. If you die from the complications of a preventable disease, I fail to see how it's my fucking problem. Yet, here we are. I have largely given up most of the enjoyment in my life over the last year and a half while complying with mandates designed to protect people who promptly ignore them outside of the areas where they are enforced. Now, fueled in part by the decisions of certain people because of bad information they consume from the internet, I will inevitably be required to once again wear a fucking muzzle to protect people from their own goddamned ignorance. This will once again be promptly ignored by the entire population of self-righteous, ignorant Karens and Kens, with which I share this godforsaken continent. These new mandates are absolutely pointless. This is like trying to stop an explosion from occurring in slow motion. It's over. Give up. The explosion has already happened, and we are just waiting for the shockwave to arrive. Hiding under the cardboard desk is only going to delay the inevitable. It is time to let Darwin take over and allow natural selection to do what it does best. It's worked for the last 4 billion years. Why fuck with a good thing? Everyone wonders why I'm a misanthrope. It's shit like this. Blowdown complete. There. I feel better. I'm glad you do. The problem is Darwin, I get the survival of the fittest, but we've got kids to deal with. That's the amazing thing to me. That you can worry about all the other things, but to not worry about your children, that you constantly seem to worry about because you're afraid they're not going to be able to pay the bills of your generation, or that my generation is blamed on for all the generations and leaving behind for them. Well, you won't have to worry if you're not doing the things you should do so that they can survive this pandemic. If you're not going to have to worry if they're dead, are you? I mean, why the? Okay, you did the speaking and you did it well, and you set me off. Whew, it's tiresome. It's just tiresome. Bruce Marmy has shared a different take on how to deal with the pandemic, and I want to thank you for that. I've constantly asked for folks to send in other opinions, and I'm glad you did. And now I will share it with the world, or at least a couple of cities outside of Vegas. Now, let's get to it. Hi, Lewis. I'm not ranting. I'm just saying, why must people demonstrate just how stupid they are? I'm not a rocket scientist, and I don't play one at home. Yet every schmuck and schmo are suddenly immunologists. However, there are valid questions as to what truly initiates herd immunity. The vaccine may stave off the natural selective process to herd immunity. Shots may make it harder to develop that immunity, remembering the virus adapts far more quickly than we do. The actual issue is susceptibility to catching the virus. The correct approach is not shots and drugs, it's health and vigor. The fact is, we are deficient in vitamin K2 and D3, potassium, and magnesium, zinc, and selenium. We eat too much garbage food, too much empty carbs and sugars. That is why our country is so much more sick than other countries. The masks are demonstrating subservience above any true concern for our welfare. Vaccines, but no M4A? We are the existential threat to the elite. But we can't demand the minimum health care other countries we support are doing for their populations. It takes courage to fight against your own side in order to break through the fog of apathy ingrained in this distraction era we live in. Dopes with the vote. Great country. Well, Bruce, I'm sure we'll get some stuff about herd immunity. I don't know enough about it. I do know that everything is shown, from what I'm seeing, if you're vaccinated, you don't get sick. I don't know what to say. As far as the masking goes, apparently I can, because I'm vaccinated, I can give it to somebody. So I wear the mask. There'll be one coming up about that, so I'll let them speak to it. And I take all those vitamins, every one of them, every day. And I have an underlying condition. And so no matter what kind of vim and vigor, and I don't eat garbage food. As a matter of fact, I lost weight during the pandemic. The pandemic was kind to me. It was like an anxiety diet. But I ate well and healthy. I'm just glad I was vaccinated. And I hope you're doing well and that you're healthy and your family is. And that I hope that you do get vaccinated. But, if you can't because of whatever, I certainly can't convince you. Just would like you to think about it and look at what the numbers are saying. I don't think they're making up the numbers, and I don't think you think they're making up the numbers. This is a different vaccine. This is not the vaccine we've seen before. It's a step into another direction and another time and place, much like a smartphone over over the phones that we were dialing. But I really appreciate it, Bruce. It's tough to take that opposite view, and you've got this tidal wave of folks who are yelling and screaming, and I've certainly got a number of them, which is what this is about. It's about getting it off their chests, and I hope that I help you get it off your chest, and I hope I did justice to it. So take care of yourself, and thanks again. Daniel Kunkel is here with us, ranting about what seems to be standing between us and a better tomorrow. Hi, Lewis. Where is my vaccine? I've lived abroad for more than 17 years as a teacher. The country I live in has an extremely low vaccination rate. And what vaccines we do have are the Chinese ones and AstraZeneca. Basically, the worst of what is available. But something is better than nothing, so sign me up. However, the number of vaccines available are nowhere near the demand. Fortunately, people in Asia are not as ass fucking backwards as they are in the US when it comes to vaccines or wearing masks. I am thankful for that. So when I read the US was donating 1.5 million doses of Pfizer to the country I reside in, I got a bit excited. Surely some of these would be allocated for US citizens here. There are only 30,000 of us. First, I looked on the U.S. Embassy and Consulate's website for information. All inquiries about vaccines directed me to local government registration lists. None of these lists included the province that I reside in, and all barred registration for interprovincial residents. Next, I wrote an email to the American Citizen Services Branch and received a prompt reply. The reply made it clear that there were no strings attached to the donation, and this country's government would organize its distribution. For fuck's sake, they can't organize a bachelor party in a brothel here, and they got plenty of those. While I commend the U.S. shipping out surplus vaccines to the needy and poor around the world, I'm less flabbergasted as to why no one in the fucking American Citizen Services Program has seemingly ever thought to provide all the U.S. citizens living abroad with the goddamn services that every American is offered at home. Worse yet is reading in the news how many states have now become vaccine tourist hubs for wealthy international citizens to receive vaccines for free. For free! While I and hundreds of thousands of other Americans around the world are left with our dick in our hands waiting for the local governments to get their shit together to supply and distribute vaccines. And when they eventually can do that, you better bet sure as shit us U.S. citizens are likely to be at the back of the bloody fucking line because these countries will quite probably prioritize their citizens. So bless the benevolence of the United States in distributing vaccines around the world. But what about your own citizens? Why in the fuck has no one thought to send vaccines to every fucking U.S. embassy around the world? They do recommend we report our residency and contact information in case of disaster, civil war, etc. Would a global pandemic not be considered a fucking calamity? Other countries, notably the UK and EU nations who have also donated vaccines, thought to earmark enough vaccines for their own citizens and have had the courtesy to invite their citizens for free jabs at the local embassy. But not the greatest in the nation in the world. Humbug. My knickers are in a knot, my panties in a bunch, my tighty whities in a twist. The salt in the wounds? I do online teaching in the evenings with an international company that has a base in the U.S. I am classified as an independent contractor. And as such, I must pay 15% of my meager supplementary income to the IRS. So any fuckwads who want to argue, well, you chose to live there and you don't pay taxes, can go fuck themselves. I did choose to live here. I am blessed to be free of Karens and QAnon short bus riders, but I do pay my U.S. goddamn taxes, so I do feel entitled to the same goddamn rights as every other Tom, Dick, and Harry. I even pay more taxes on my below the poverty line $6,000 a year income than those billionaires like Jeff Dickhead Bezos or Elon douchebag Musk pay. What the fuck? Just give me my vaccine, please. Ran over. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest. Third World, Dan K. Daniel, deeply appreciate it. Thank you for sharing it. Sorry for mucking up that ending. We had to do it a few times. But I wanted to get it right. And we certainly had a trio there of rants of the pandemic era. And we'll probably go into a time capsule. Maybe they'll get them out and we can figure out what to do next time. Appreciate you sharing with us and utterly astonished You're making less than $6,000 a year wherever the fuck you are, and they can't give you the vaccine. I mean, it's just, but it's perfect. And then people wonder why they don't trust the government. Stupid people elect stupid leaders, electing, and stupid things get done. And that's my stupid song for the day. Take care of yourself. And I hope they get the vaccine to you shortly. Maybe this will trigger something. Maybe there's a congressperson out there. Son of a bitch, I heard all the best, Daniel. Neil Campbell has this to say. He's from Australia. And I read this not to toot my own horn, which I, of course, no, I don't really like tooting my own horn, but I'm reading it really to give you a sense that the world watches and pays attention to what we do on one level and another. Even if it's a schmuck like me or a schmuck like the former leader. Lewis, I would like to thank you for lightening my days with your humor. Even down here in Australia, I get to enjoy your videos and laugh at the stupidity of people, in particular the followers of your ex-president, who to people outside the United States are seen as competitors to people such as yourself. However, this is your profession, and they make the world both laugh and cringe with their stupidity. I just wish they would keep their stupidity off social media, as fellow idiots around the world tend to follow them and then start anti-vax movements and the like. Anti-vax movements and the like. I did that for emphasis. I hope you don't mind, Neil. I hope you keep sending out your videos. I will. And keeping the world entertained in your unique style. Well, I wish I was a little more entertaining on these from time to time, but hopefully if they can get their stuff together, I'll be back on the road and maybe coming your way at some point. Would certainly like to get back to Australia. Thank you, Neil. Cole Riggs has reason to rant. You'll hear why. Hey, Lewis, I recently got a part-time job at Sam's Club. The amount of assholes who park their carts in the middle of the goddamn aisle is astonishing to me. Large group of people, non-masked, by the way, having conversations or on their phones in the middle of the aisle, blocking the entire fucking thing and forcing other customers to go another way because of their ignorance. Nobody cares about what boring-ass conversation you're having or what worthless text you're replying to. There are a million better places to have an hour-long conversation than directly in the middle of a grocery aisle on an extremely busy day. Go outside, go to a restaurant, or, hey, your own goddamn house. Just stop blocking everybody, asshole. Whew. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest, Lou. Well, thanks for getting it off your chest. I enjoyed it. Wow. I get tired of it's the everyday rants that give me joy. The everyday, holy fuck, I can't believe what I'm looking at rants. Kirby Harris, ranting about a problem with recycling. So something stupid happened today. We have a recycling service, and they ask you to write save on the bins that you don't want taken away. I got this big blue bin that I bought in an estate sale last year. It was beautiful, big, and perfect. I wrote save on the lid and never had a problem. Every 2 weeks, the blue bin would get full. I bring my recycle bins full of recycling out and put them on the side of my driveway. The blue bin is there too, and the lid is out on top of the bin with the word saved written 4 times with a Sharpie on it. I put it out, and when I wake up, the blue bin is empty, along with the rest of my other bins on the side of the driveway for me to bring back inside the garage. So fucking simple. And this is their procedure too. They tell you to do this if you don't want your bins taken away. Well, guess what happened today? I go out to bring my bins in the garage, and my blue bin is gone. What's even more stupid is that the bin is gone. But whoever handled my recycles this morning left the damn lid with the rest of my smaller bins. The fuck, you gonna take my bin and leave the lid? Shouldn't you have at least the brains to, I don't know if you're going to take the bin, take the lid with you? Or did somehow the word save, written 4 times on the lid with a Sharpie, which is also implied that I wanted to keep the bin too, made you think the bin is okay to take, but the lid isn't? What the hell am I supposed to do with a lid now? Seriously, I want to know. What am I supposed to do with this now? I'm literally Lewis Black pissed. I would have yelled a little more, Kirby, but I'm in a hotel room. And you can't yell when you're running from the law. Thanks for that, Kirby. I hope you got your bin back. And you got it in an estate sale. That I thought was really spectacular. A recycle bin at an estate sale. Usually people get, all sorts of things at an estate sale, but I've never heard of getting something for recyclables. Good for you. I hope that lid isn't lonely. No matter how you're feeling about getting back out there, there's no denying it's an adjustment. When the world gets too loud, something I love to do is create my own wall of sound and listen to it on Raycon wireless earbuds. Sometimes you just need some upbeat music, or maybe listen to a Lewis Black Rantcast. When I'm wandering the streets of New York City, I like to pop in the Raycons, put on some tunes, and really create my own soundtrack as I wander about. And let me tell you right now, Raycons are the best way to listen. They come with a bunch of gel tips for your comfort. And unlike some other brands, they don't stick out of your ears. Raycons have a 32-hour battery life, so you can listen to what you want, when you want, for a really long time. They start at half the price of other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good. And Raycons come with a 45-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. Give them a try. You'll see what I mean. Create your own soundtrack with Raycon. Right now, Rantcast listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at www.buyraycon.com/black. That's buyraycon.com/black to save 15% on Raycons. Buyraycon.com/black. Spencer Seymour, a Canadian cousin from up north, has this to share about the ineptitude of leadership there. Hi, Lewis. I'm a Canadian fan of yours, and I apologize for being a tad presumptuous. But I thought it may be refreshing for you and the viewers to hear a rant about politics from your neighbors to the north. Here goes. Our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is a giant knob. Sure, he looks good compared to other politicians, because most politicians look like gremlins in desperate need of intense skincare routines. But I'm telling you, Lou, he's a knob. He's not the worst ever, but we should definitely be able to do better than Justin. Unfortunately, the Conservative Party in Canada has all the intellect of a chicken, on which someone just performed a lobotomy gone wrong. They had a leadership race last year because their previous leader, Andrew Scheer, is like Mitt Romney, but not as charismatic as Romney. Think about that, Lou. The fucknut who believes in magic underwear looks like Freddie Mercury compared to Andrew Scheer. Anyway, Scheer's Conservatives lost to Trudeau's Liberal Party in 2019, even though Trudeau was reeling from 2 major scandals, including being found to have worn blackface multiple times years ago, and reportedly attempting to influence the Attorney General in an ongoing prosecution. 2 huge scandals, and the Conservatives still couldn't win. So last year, they had a leadership race, and the finalists were fucking pitiful. Honestly, Lou, the candidates range from dipshit to borderline Trump-level Dickensian villain. But I won't get into all those dipshits. I'll just tell you who won. Erin O'Toole. Erin fucking O'Toole. And you guessed it, like his name suggests. He's a tool. He has no platform. To be honest, Lou, I'm not entirely sure he's ever had a fully formed thought pass through his head in his life. After he became leader, O'Toole said the Conservatives need to move forward and adopt a more modern mindset, but the party then voted down a resolution to officially recognize climate change. Oh my. Not a motion to invest billions of dollars in fighting climate change. Not a motion saying this is what we think the best way to deal with climate change. The motion they voted down was to fucking recognize it as existing. And what? What did O'Toole do in response to this? Did he tell his party they were wrong? Fuck no. He didn't say a fucking word. He went back to his platform of he isn't Justin Trudeau because that seems to be all he can think of. Should have been the easiest fucking task in the world to find a leader with enough charisma and competency to defeat Trudeau. But sadly, competency and charisma are strictly forbidden in the Conservative Party because those things might lead to logic and creativity. Also, and this obviously isn't the most important thing, but Aaron O'Toole looks like an egg. I'm not sure why this is, but if you see a headshot photo of him, I'm sure you'll agree. He is very egg-like. But it's okay, Lou, because we've got a third major party, the New Democrat Party, or NDP. They are further to the left than the Liberals, but not so far left that we'd be living in Venezuela. They want to expand our free health care to include dental, vision, and mental health. They want to really aggressively address climate change. Bold ideas? Yes, but nothing that will make us a third world country. And not all of their ideas are great, but at least they've come up with something. Sure, they want to spend a lot of money on the problems of today, but apparently people forget that if you want to solve a problem, you have to spend money. For years, Canadians have wanted something different, but all we ever do is elect liberals and conservatives. Liberal, conservative, liberal, conservative, and they're all the fucking same. But the NDP actually have something resembling a platform. But will we elect them? Of course not. Why? I wish I knew. It's probably got at least something to do with the fact that the party's leader is Jagmeet Singh, a Sikh man from Vancouver. And a lot of white people don't want to vote for a guy with a beard and a turban, even if it means voting for someone with no platform and who looks like an egg, or someone who can't go 6 months without a stupid preventable scandal. God forbid we actually try something different. Singh is an intelligent, charismatic, passionate individual who actually has some idea of what he wants to do. But will we make him the prime minister? No. We've got to vote for either the scandal-ridden liberal knob or the mindless egg-resembling tool. Thanks, Lou. No. Thank you, Spencer. Same thing here. We wouldn't vote for a Sikh. We only on statewide levels. We can see that happening. It's always great to hear that others really. You gave us a respite from the madness we go through, and that I deeply appreciate. It's good for us down here to know about this. People always ask, do you follow Canadian politics? And it's hard enough keeping up with the bullshit here, that's for sure. Thanks for bringing us up to date, Spencer. And for those of you, my Canadian friends, who have more to say on the subject, please send it in, because it helps keep our minds off of the madness that we face every day, howling at us, howling and howling and howling. You kind of just go quietly mad, but not us. We try to jump out of planes. Kate Florendo is letting it rip, and I'm glad she is sharing it with us. Kids do stupid things and dangerous things. We all know that. What I don't know is why parents try to control everything that everyone else does, creates, and watches. I read some whiny headline like, TikTok is killing kids. You know what parents were bitching about? Content their own stupid-ass kids were creating, sharing, and reposting. A choking game. You heard me right. The kids are choking themselves to the point of passing out as a challenge. And some were dying. Are you fucking kidding me? Is this the same generation that ate Tide Pods? These asshole parents are blaming social media to deflect from their lack of supervision. never questioning themselves that maybe they shouldn't let their kid use TikTok. Maybe they shouldn't leave their kid with endless, unchecked online use. Huh? Your kid is definitely watching porn, by the way. If you didn't know that, then you're a half-wit, naive turd. Maybe you should talk to them about that. Maybe you should talk to them about not jumping off bridges, eating Tide Pods, eating cinnamon, whatever the fuck else stupid shit kids do. Seriously. Why the fuck do these people even have kids if they expect social media to raise them? They'd rather blame anyone who isn't a good role model for their kids. Listen, bitch, no one cares. You think everyone dreams of being a role model? How about you be one, huh? They won't because they cannot step the fuck up and parent. They want social media to be more responsible. How about that? That's not working out so well, is it? I don't think so. I added that. Parents, I'm going to let you in on something, okay? The world is not catered to your children. The world doesn't give a fuck about your children. You may not believe in Darwinism, but he believes in your kids. Oh, and don't forget to make sure your stupid kid doesn't have their location turned on in their Snapchat so they won't get abducted by pedophiles. You're welcome. Thank you, Kate. The world of social media, it'd be tough. I don't know how I'd deal with it. I'd probably be an Amish parent. No doubt. You know, my parents wouldn't let me. My friends were going out till 12 and 1. I had to be back at, they were going out sometimes till 2. I had to be back at 11, then 12. Then, okay, you can go out to 1. Or my father would say, I'd say, I'd go to my father and say, well, Mom said I have to be back at 12. What do you think? He said, well, you can go out later than that, but then you're going to have to deal with your mother. Whew. Oh, boy. Didn't want to deal with my mother. But thank you for dealing with the idiots out there, Kate, and the apparent lack of parenting. I get a lot of those coming in, and I hadn't seen that one about. I didn't know they were back to choking themselves. We had we had a kid die in my high school early on. Actually, it was junior high. From that kind of asphyxiation, that we believed it was autoerotic asphyxiation. That was what we thought in order for us, I think, to deal with the trauma of it. And we didn't know him, but it certainly probably put a shock through the system. Thanks for you sending out a shock into the system. Kate, we appreciate it. Here's an anonymous rant. Shared with us a couple of weeks ago, fell through the cracks along with a few others. Hopefully I'll be able to catch up with those soon. This is a lengthy anonymous rant, and you'll see why it's anonymous, and you'll see why it's a long one. A lot to get through here. A lot of reason to rant. Hi, Lewis. I'm a half Latino, half white, bisexual, liberal, progressive living in San Antonio. And while I've never written to you before, boy, do I have some rants to deliver. Before I start, a quick request. Please do not use my name, not because I'm not proud of being out or being a liberal progressive in San Antonio, but these days, retribution is a real factor to consider here. I also want you to know that I'm very grateful that I work for an employer that not only protects its full-time employees and contractors from the pandemic by setting us all up to work from home, but also actively supports and advocates for its LGBTQ employees. Those caveats aside, let's begin, shall we? What can I say to all of you anti-science, own the libs, cue ball, closet porn addicts who actually cheered when the idiots at CPAC announced last week that new vaccination numbers were declining in this country? This week, we all awoke to the cold, hard, undeniable reality that the Delta variant of COVID-19 is here and now in all states, especially here in Texas. And guess who's on the menu? You people. The unvaccinated. I do not want to hear any asshole crying about what a terrible person I am for enjoying just a small measure of schadenfreude, because I actually am fully vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine. And while there is still some risk to me, At least for now, I can at least not have to worry about ending up on a ventilator in an ICU, deep-throating a feeding tube, involuntarily being sodomized by a waste removal tube while diapered and gasping for air on a ventilator, probably still stubbornly trying to believe that this is all just a bad hoax and it's not really happening. Right? What a slightly bland irony it is that the very people who put Governor 1836 Project in power, Governor 1836 Project, wow, like that, and who, with his crew of snowflake bitches in the legislature, are trying to get legislation passed to eliminate my right to vote, or at least negate my vote if they don't like the result of the next election. And to top that, now they want to try to make everyone in this state stop talking about slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, and instead obediently shovel down this 1836 Project bullshit because they don't want to feel uncomfortable when Junior comes home and starts asking why certain old money families in this state were some of the worst offenders of antebellum slavery in the Confederacy, and yet still hold tremendous clout over state government policy. Let's discuss Senator Ted Cancunio Cruz next. This man is the living embodiment of that asshole at everyone's office who microwaves fish and burns the popcorn every time. But boy, when I see that paper mache bearded cock on the news now, I remember back in February in a 25-degree apartment with no lights or heat, with 3 layers of winter clothes on and a parka plus 3 layers of blankets and comforters over that, with my poor cat sandwich between the covers and my parka, and lying quietly snuggled against me, purring contentedly because he hadn't froze to death yet, and my constant worry that if that situation kept on all week, eventually we would both be frozen to death by the end of the week. As it turns out, our local electricity provider, which is publicly funded, managed to get their ass in gear by that Wednesday night and had restored full power to my block, saving a lot of lives. And then later that week, I learned that while I was slowly freezing to death, huddling with my cat to keep each other alive, good old Ted, fearless defender of Trump truth and the insurrection, had run off to Cancun, Mexico with his family. And only when he got caught there by the media did he cut his travel plans short and try to look like he was taking a working vacation while blaming his daughters for the whole fiasco in the first place. And then we heard that he abandoned the family dog in their home when he ducked out of the state to get away from feeling uncomfortable about the cold hard fact that he's an unempathetic neo-fascist snowflake whose patriotism, like his travel plans, is conditional. This methanogenic autotroph who has no right to condemn the state Democratic lawmakers who fled his state to break quorum and block this special session from tearing up the last shreds of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act so they can watch their Nazi porn and pretend that they're still winners after all. And everybody loves them. Meanwhile, they do nothing about the fact that ERCOT is a worthless, feckless, Ayn Randian, Malthusian shit pile excreted from their own mouths. And they really need to see their doctors because that sort of thing usually comes out the other end in human beings. Last one, I promise. So I have to give credit to the liberal redneck Trey Crowder for this idea. But since these mouth breathers who want to catch the Delta variant to build up their herd immunity get such a blind hard-on for the word freedom, isn't it time for the Democrats to get stealthy on their collective ass and start putting the word freedom on every piece of legislation they want to pass through the Senate? Tax the rich, ladies and gentlemen, the American Tax Fairness and Freedom Act. Voter protections, the American Freedom Voters Act of 2021. And why stop there? Infrastructure, global warming, green alternatives? Time for some rebranding with the words American and freedom used prominently in the titles and keeping in place what we actually need. Because none of these fucks who are supposed to represent us in the Senate can be counted on to be expected to actually read these things beyond the title page.
And better yet, have it set up so they think that some dummy front group, a la ALEC, is behind these, so they can be fooled into thinking that some of their donors are at work undermining and owning the libs, when it's actually us libs owning them for once. And when that's all done, let's fire the Senate parliamentarian and take the filibuster, roll it tightly, and then yell at our colleagues to hold down Senator McConnell and drop his trowel. He's had this coming for a long fucking time. I'd like to thank my anonymous friend for that lengthy diatribe, which I enjoyed immensely. Lots of things pissing you off, and rightfully so. The 1836 Project. At first, I did not know that's what they're doing down there, because I can only pay attention to so much during a week or I'll break out in hives. I actually thought that was a piece of satire. He's governor 1836, which makes a lot of sense. It's close to where he's governing from, and there's no need to wash your hands before you do surgery. Let's see how that works. Just a couple of things. ERCOT is the idiotic energy thing that Texas set up in order to be independent and thereby freeze themselves to death in the winter and, kill themselves by during the heat in the summer. It's ludicrous. No other state is even bothered to go in that direction. And why? Because it's fucking stupid, and we saw that. And nothing has been done, I've gathered, to change that. They're more worried about masking, because if you do that, you won't be cold, and they in the winter, and or you won't be hot in the summer. The ALEC is a conservative group of a corporate conservative group that comes up with ways in which to, kind of create, laws or, bills that might work in there to be advantageous for them. Very conservative, and that's why he was asking at the end that they would use a dummy front group like that to say that they were behind the New Green Deal. And that's the explanation of that, and I appreciate all of it. And we're in strange times. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for getting it all out there. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me, Lewis Black. It is produced by James Salkind. Our theme song by Chris Lane. Executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcast. And most of all, thank you, all of you who ranted so well on this show.